Hi guys, it's Alec here, and I'm going to show you guys in MyVAT a little slippery fish. Always makes me think of that thing. When I was young, there was a program on TV called "Het jou katvis." I think it was Grootback or something, and he always said "Het jou katvis," and makes me think of this one transaction in Pastel. When you process VAT transactions, the automated leg, the generated leg that goes to the VAT control account has got a reference called Z contrast. Now, I'm sure many of you guys out there that have audited Pastel databases and that have tried to reconcile Pastel databases on transactional level will know what I'm talking about. That is a very elusive little transaction. It's quite difficult to reconcile back to a net leg of the origination transaction, where it actually originated and why it is actually in the database. So reconciling that to detailed level, like what an IT14 ST requires, or even a reasonability requires, is quite difficult, and it's a slow process. So MyVAT solves that for us in an automated process. It actually automates the whole process of reconciling VAT back to the origination legs. I'm going to show you guys how that works. So in our demo database called WOW, this is MyVAT, and it plugs into any Pastel Partner, Pastel Xpress, or Sage 50Cloud database. Okay, so here in this database there are about 7,000 lines of transactions, I think, and yeah, it ultimately is it's an indication for us as to how we can now go and get grip of that Z contrast leg. Okay, so firstly, this is the landing page. Okay, it says, well, it's been fully reconciled, automatically reconciled on debtors, creditors, and general. So there are three types in Pastel, three main types. They call it GDCs. It's either debtors or it's creditor transaction, or it's a general transaction. Okay, and then what you're always trying to reconcile is your control account, your VAT control account 9500 in this case, but sometimes people use different control accounts. As a norm, 9500 000 is your main VAT account. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys, if I go and scroll down here to the VAT control account, you're going to see here there is a 00 here. Now again, anything in our apps are drillable. Okay, so I'm going to drill down on all transactions, and I'm going to try and quickly show you guys how that Z contrast pops out and what the actual grip is you have of that data. Okay, so firstly I'm going to try and show you guys what a transaction what a transaction looks like when it actually posts that elusive Z contrast reference. Okay, so here's a little column called reference, and you'll see that actually often processes this Z contrast leg. You see that's actually quite often it does that, and it does that with cash book payments and with cash book receipts, and ultimately also with something like there's also some of your debtor and creditor processes. Your debtors and creditors processings also have a Z contrast. It's that automated leg of VAT, but it actually becomes a little bit more difficult than that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly pivot something, because I want to identify a transaction with multiple legs. Okay, so firstly I'm going to put in a pivot here, and I'm going to quickly with the fields I have available, remember when you pivot, know your field names. Okay, so E-type is a nice field name here. I want to say, what E-types do I have? These are typical E-types within a Pastel database: accruals, cash book 1 payments, cash book 1 receipts, journals, etc., etc. So what I want to do is I want to go and say, give me my transaction ID. I want to see a multiple transaction ID. So I'm going to do transaction ID in value and in the numbers. So those are the numbers, but what I want to do is I just want to do a count of the amount of transactions per transaction ID. So what this actually means is on transaction ID number 15 there are 6 rows of transactions. So let's go down and find one that has got multiple legs here. There's one of 64 64 transactions within this one transaction, debits and credits. Okay, so let me actually go and drill on this one. Here we go. So this one tells us there are 64 rows of transaction. You'll see it balances to 0. So these are tons of credits and debits, and so we go on, etc., etc., and it's gone and it's processed all over the place here, and there are debits. But just check here for interest sake. This is a cash book payments transaction. First of all, there is only a few, look here, there are only a few Z contras that went to the actual cash book here, 8400. And then just in relation to that, there's also only a few Z contras that went to the 9500 account. Okay, so why are there 3 here? Well, it's because it actually spans over 3 months. First of all, 1, 2, 3, 4 actually in this case, but only 3 of them have VAT related postings to them. Now, if you look at it, it's 64 payments, or postings, sorry, 64 basically postings. But if you can just have a look here, there are 20 Rand 47 that was claimed in October 2019, 34 Rand 46 in September 2019, and then 21 Rand and 83 in August. Okay, so that's first thing I just want you to notice. But how do you know which one of these are actually relate to those, each of them? Because look, it adds up to 76 Rand and 76 cents in total. How do you know which one was actually the origination legs that you literally said, well, this one needs to be claimed on? Okay, so one of the things that we do bring through is something called tax type. So immediately you can see something coming through here that may just help you. But the other things that we also do is, just for interest's sake, just to show you, is that there are multiple postings here over multiple days. If you actually open this, you'll see that there are multiple postings over multiple days. An interesting thing about a Pastel database actually that it's out of balance most of the days in a year, except on the end of every month. So the reason it does that, it does a one single leg entry per posting period. Remember, it says to you what is the period that you post in. That's why you can't pull a Pastel data trial balance on a daily basis. You can only do it on a monthly basis. You can say, I want it for the 5th month, I want it for the 6th month. But you can't say I want it for the 15th of June, for instance. Okay, it's not possible. But let me show you quickly if I just pivot this further. Remember, now we're going to pivot some further. We don't want to just believe what I say. I just want to show you actually what I'm pointing out here. So I want to show you quickly. We got a nice little field called day that tells us what day of the month this is. And then I'm going to say, well, show me the FY month. And that should show me very nicely as 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the 4 financial months. And I'm going to say, well, give me the amount actually. And check how this is quite a nice way to show how it is out of balance. Okay, so you'll see there, and even if I swap this around, it actually will show us even better. There you can see that, like on the 6th month, it was out of balance on the 30th and in balance again on the 31st. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this back into a nice currency value that is easier to read. Uses 1000 separates, so then you'll see it pops out nicely. So look at that. 6 on the 31st, 30th was out of balance, and there it came back into balance. You see, so overall was in balance. On the 7th, look at this, was out of balance, out of balance, out of balance, and the last on the 30th. So even if I go and scroll, there it is in balance again. Look here, out of balance until the end of the month. There it's back in balance. Okay, so just interesting to show you how a Pastel database is out of balance until that main control account posting goes through, that last one that goes to the cash book control account. Okay, but now back to VAT. Okay, that's the important one here, right? Okay, so what we have, what the actual purpose of our algorithms within MyVAT is to give you control of this Z contrast, okay, that automated VAT leg. You want to see which one did you actually post it to, so that you have grip to say, well, did you post correctly? And I want to reconcile this back to transaction level on a detailed level. I want to have real control of my data. So let's see. We've actually gone and we've split, and we said on an algorithm level, go and check where this originated from and go and post that back to the original debit leg or credit leg, the origination leg. So check here, there's a field here a little bit on that's called VAT against net leg. Okay, so I'm going to quickly just hide this one or two. Hide. Okay, there we go. So if I post and I say, well, just close all of this for me, check how this pops out now nicely. 76 Rand and 76, there it is. It's that Z contrast over there. It's actually now, sorry, that's the 76 Rand and 76 cents that we saw. And these are the 9 legs of transactions that it was posted against. Against 96 cents, there was 14 cents. There was 66 and 96 cents, there was 10 Rand and 4 cents. 69 Rand and 57 cents, there was 10 Rand and 43 cents that was claimed, and so on. So each of these 9 legs in that 64 legs, those are the legs that ultimately we posted and claimed on, and we took it to these accounts. Those were debited. This is the net leg, and that is actually what was claimed, which added up to those 3 legs, which added up to 76 Rand and 76 cents. Okay, so that's all over the show. That's what this purpose of this tool is. It actually takes every transaction, every single Z contrast VAT transaction, it processes it and it re-looks at it, and it goes and places it for you against the origination leg so that you have grip on that detailed leg. Okay, very powerful for any VAT auditor out there. If you're doing an IT14ST, a detailed one, or a VAT reasonability test for any auditor, tax specialist, or accountant that needs to have grip of their VAT. And that's great for looking back in history, because we can do up to 5-year windows, and we can look at over a 5-year period what it looks like, or even before you submit your VAT return, to go and have grip to say, was my VAT processed correctly before I actually submit, so I can correct it and then ultimately have a correct VAT return. And we know we have a clear record with SARS, and we can control that we have claimed enough VAT and that we are actually paying the right amount of output over. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great one. Cheers guys.